Happy Sunday night from Beijing. Welcome back to the LPL, everyone. And this voice is different from the one that you just heard because we're doing a caster hot swap as we jump into our next matchup. Because, ladies and gentlemen, in Beijing, our match of the week is beginning. Royal Never Give Up are taking on Invictus Gaming in just a few minutes. So we're going to hop into that in just a moment. We've brought Rusty on the desk. We've still got Raz here as well. We're so excited for this.
You're the odd one out, Raz.
Yeah.
You got matching ties, and then
Where's the...
That's good. There's swag. I like it. I respect
If there were a flower in the middle of the necklace, then I think it would be properly balanced out. But let's get into this matchup right now, because currently Royal Never Give Up and Invictus Gaming are two of the top teams in the LPL. A lot of you should know this by now. These were the two teams that were vying for that MSI spot, but it was RNG that was able to take the victory, go on to MSI, go on to take fame and fortune at Rift Rivals, and now they're looking to continue this momentum in this matchup against IG.
Yeah, it was insane, of course, if you look at the history of it, because remember, even though Invictus Gaming had a spectacular regular season, it was RNG that started them, taking that, or at least they taken the victory in a 2-0 victory at the first series of spring, and then they did it again later on, and sure, while IG at least hit back a little bit, it's in favor if you look at 2018.
Yeah, definitely in terms of matches, but what's so curious to me is that it's 9-7 in games. So you know full well that when these two go against each other, even though RNG have come out on top most of the time, Invictus Gaming are still able to keep up. They are all constantly taking us to 3 games, and it always comes down to the wire.
Yeah, that's the big hope for this series as well, because again, these are two top-tier teams. We're expecting them to be of equal caliber. That being said, in the past week or two, things have changed. Let's start with IG first. Obviously, they're still playing with Duke and the Shy in the top lane, with the remaining 4 still being the same. But Invictus Gaming, it's no longer the Shy who's looking like their star top laner. It's Duke.
Yeah, this is a weird one. This is a conversation that we definitely have to have. It's about which one do you want or which one is better. It's always about how you're going to frame that one. Because for me, to say it flatly, I believe that Duke is currently better for Invictus Gaming because as a team, they look significantly better overall. He's also been playing carries and carrying. So when you consider all of that, the Shy is still trying to find form, of course. He disappeared for injury, so take that for what it's worth. He's still rebuilding, and maybe he does have a higher ceiling. But right now, it should just be all on the Duke train because that man's going off.
And this is why it's a little bit of a test going into this series, which is you might not want to have the test going up against RNG. But as a team, they're looking at playoffs, looking forward and saying that who do we want to go in a best of 5. Now, remember when they went in a best of 5 versus RNG last time, the key contributing factor was not having the Shy. So the Shy being a major carry factor in what is a team that really values the laning phase. The Shy is your go-to guy. It's just insane to see Duke performing very well recently, but also at the same time, the Shy trying to warm up, not warming up as quickly as you would like.
So then let's get into the style that we're looking at for Invictus Gaming right now, because if we presume that it is Duke that will be playing for them today, because as we predicted, or as we've been saying, he is looking like a better fit for the team right now, what are we looking at? Is it still the early lane priority from Invictus Gaming, the lane kingdom into snowball setup?
Certainly should be. I don't think that part for IG has changed regardless of the top laner that they put in. The only big difference is usually the draft priority. You know, when IG had the Shy, he commanded bans, and by doing so, unlocked the rest of the map. But for Invictus Gaming, when Duke is playing, they still pick team fighting compositions, your Orianas, your Nars, working very well in those team fights, but it's all about controlling the lane with those picks, and then still having the team fight as the secondary, the follow-up there.
And this is what's really interesting, because even though in the past, Invictus Gaming have been criminally just poor at team fighting, they've gotten so much better with it, and a lot of it can be around the fact that they have Duke now in the team fights, bringing up heavy team fight picks. Gnar is a major one. He's playing Gnar as if he's a team fighter rather than a major split pusher, and that's a real contributing factor, making IG a lot more confident. This is when they went up against Rogue Warriors, and this series was really defined by the skirmish, the heavy team fights about 8 minutes into the game.
And we get a chance to witness that as, again, Invictus Gaming, they do like to prioritize their early game and snowball off the back of that. Of course, their opponents on the other side, they're a team that's actually stepped away from that early lane priority. And we do have to herald the return of Uzi. The king is back. But does he deserve the crown right now? He's been playing late game hyper carries, Kog'Maws, Vaynes, and we have to wonder, does he still deserve the crown that he holds in his hand?
I mean, he looks angry, just based off that question alone. But if you look towards the split performance itself, you have a lot of credit to your name, because look at the loss in Dragon percentage, because there's no pressure in the bottom lane now that they have to extend the game and know that you're playing for late game rather than early. They've lost so much early pressure 1,600 gold in team gold percent, or at least team gold at 15,
yeah, it's
to
a loss.
negative 163. It's a massive loss if you compare Spring Split to the Summer.
And just to clarify as well, these are Summer Split stats since Uzi has returned to the roster. So there is a very noticeable difference here. And whilst that style goes back to the Spring Split style, that's the points that you're mentioning, they've lost most of that early game focus. So it's definitely noticeable through not just the play style, not just through the draft, but also now through the stats as they are negatively affecting RNG.
And if you look towards the win time as well, just the literal point of you win a game, how long does it take to do that? Just a 10-minute difference. So that's, of course, a state of the meta, but a meta that they are not really moving on when they have Uzi in the bottom.
Yeah, to be fair, they're playing teams like Vici and going to 60 minutes. You know, these things are not something that should be affecting your average win time because they are having extended games that go down to the wire. And you always look at that and you're like, well, firstly, why? And then secondly, they had to pull out a miracle to get the win. And Uzi isn't even really the biggest part of those miracles. It's the rest of the team around him.
And that's something that we should point out, because with Uzi returning, RNG do have to change up their style to better suit him. Obviously, when they were running the 6-man with Uzi taking his break, they were able to be a little bit more flexible. You could see Xiaohu go bottom lane with a mage. You could see Zatai go mid lane with the Darius, I believe, as well.
Yep.
But now that's no longer an option. How are RNG going to change going back to that style? Is it just as simple as falling back to Spring Split for them?
Look, they have to go back to the same, I would say, play Varus more often. I know that they're moving towards it, the Varus, the Ashe pick, something that gives you the early game priority while not necessarily just going straight towards the bruisers. That's if they stay with Uzi, because that's the style that he's going to play. And to answer your question, I'd say look no farther than Europe, where Reckless comes in with the Azrael pick. They're like, okay, well, we're testing it, stress testing it. Bring in Blippo once again, and they're a much faster team right off the gate.
It's RNG on the blue side. Let me, Karsa, Xiaohu, Uzi, and Ming, the current contenders for the best in the LPL.
And the MSI winning roster at that. So this is the star-studded lineup of RNG as we, of course, go over towards Invictus Gaming. It's the Shy starting in the top lane with Ning in the jungle, Rookie mid, Jackie Love and Val on your bottom lane.
So we just had this discussion about Duke versus the Shy and came to the conclusion that Duke is better for the team right now. What does it tell us that we see the Shy starting for this roster against RNG?
Two things. Either things have changed in practice, or they're looking to the future and saying that we do see a future for the Shy going into playoffs. And if you're going to be testing your roster, doing it now up against who you're, could be facing in playoff time. It happened last time and you lost. So I would say stress test them now, because you will never get an opportunity like this.
Yeah, absolutely. Now's a good time to put the Shy in. And for what it's worth, whilst he may not be as good as Duke currently in our opinions, he has had some standout games. He has had some mega carry performances. I think back to the Cannon that he played. I think his first set back against WE, where he looked fantastic. And that was even his first set back. So Duke's gone above and beyond for the team play, but the Shy still has got the individual laning prowess there under his belt.
And they use it, dog. Take a look at this. Champion kills a minute. First, of course, really bloody if you're Invictus Gaming. Look no less than the last series when they had Rogue Warriors. 13th place for RNG. They try and pump the brakes, slow the game down. It's going to be incredibly difficult when you have IG down your throat.
Yeah, win time as well. 28 minutes compared to RNG's win time, going up 10 whole minutes since the addition of Uzi as well. You think back to IG against the last top team they played against, that was Rogue Warriors, and that was pretty much a 60-minute set that went to 3 games. 60 minutes for 3 games. That's how fast they were playing against their opponents.
Yeah.
So good team, bad team, doesn't matter to IG. Their style is solidified.
And now that we've got that all out, it's time to get the all-important question. Who do you guys think is going to win this matchup? Because still, it's RNG versus Invictus Gaming. These are the two pride teams of the LPL right now.
Look, I'm a man of faith, except for this series.
Yeah, okay, good.
Except for this series. Invictus Gaming, the brain speaks too loudly. It's telling me don't even think about it. So
Louder than
Invictus
the heart.
Gaming flatly.
All right, IG, Rusty.
Same, to be honest.
Whoa,
I mean, how could you not go for IG when you look at the recency in form? How could you go to 3 games against Vici and almost lose that set and then still want me to tip for you, right?
And
IG
look,
just looked too good.
Yeah.
Down the path of playoffs, things change. But right now, it's not looking that good for RNG. So if anyone votes for them, God bless you, but it's not happening.
Yeah, again, though, for the folks who still want to see the conclusion of the Suning JD match that is going on behind us, you can check that out on lpl.qq.com, Panda TV, or douyu.com at all of the respective websites. They should be on the massive LPL banners. Pretty easy to navigate to. We'll also be giving you live updates during the course of the RNG IG set to keep you updated with what's happening. But still, all eyes need to be on Invictus Gaming versus Royal. What are you doing over there?
Avert your eyes.
Are you trying to block spoilers on this side? See, it seems like it's working out pretty well.
Yeah, there we go.
But all eyes do need to be on Invictus Gaming versus Royal Never Give Up, because this is the test for Royal Never Give Up. They went to 60 minutes against Vici 3 times in that best of 3 against the worst team in the LPL with Uzi back, frankly playing remarkably disrespectfully, and now they're against a team that is much better at punishing.
I would say disrespectful in the pick and ban. But then if you go to the play and the game itself, it's just poor from Uzi. I think a lot of the times mispositioning very often happens. And if you're going up against Invictus Gaming, then you're not really worried about JackeyLove in this case. You're worried about the larger range, the engage potential from Ning, Rookie, and the Shy. And he's been pretty disrespectful dealing with them. And so he's been out of position a lot of times in those fights. So if you're looking at this series, that has to change for Uzi.
And the first thing that needs to change is that he continues to play the Varus, continues to play the Ashe, and does not go Vayne or Kog'Maw. The reason that I say that is because the way that he is currently playing is not Kog'Maw's playstyle. The way that RNG is drafting is not protecting a puppy. They're leaving him by himself, and he's still frontlining like he's the Juggernaut. It is not a successful style. It is not a recipe for success. They're building their own bear, and it was not a very good one.
We're even having to see them resort to putting Xiaohu on Karma and Lulu to further support that style, which takes one of the best mid laners in the league and puts him into a support style, which not exactly has been his forte, something he can do rather well, but he's been known for playing those side lanes and playing team fights.
I think Xiaohu, incredibly flexible, just based off the fact when Uzi's not there, he can play a major carry like you're saying. But of course, when it comes to Worlds time, when it comes to playoffs time, he goes into the supportive position. That being said, it's happened so quickly, and it's so recent. 8 games only being played by RNG. He needs to get into that form once again, and that's the test here.
Well, here's the big challenge. We've now entered into pick and ban between RNG and Invictus Gaming. And surprise, surprise, I mean, nobody really is surprised by this. Tahm Kench locked in for Royal Never Give Up. It just gives so much safety for Uzi. It keeps him safe in lane. If he ever steps forward, you just devour him right back up and escort him back to the safe line, and it provides for positioning in team fights.
A lot of the times you're like, well, your blue side, could you get anything better? Could you get a Nocturne in this situation, or a Varus perhaps? But if you talk to like Mata, they're like, why'd you pick Tahm Kench here? His answer is, I don't think it's first pick priority, but for our team, we need that safety net. So for RNG, I think that you look into the previous games they've had, they definitely need that safety net. Tahm Kench is necessary for me.
Yeah, definitely, but credit to Invictus Gaming for their immediate response here, prioritizing the Varus, which is expected, and a very strong pick right now, of course, versatility and styles, but also the Rise. Now, taking Rise for Rookie is a big win. He has some highlight moments himself. He is very smart with his use of the ultimates, but it's also taking it from Xiaohu, disabling the 1-3-1 potential from RNG's mid laner, which is so big for them.
We do see the follow-up of that Zoe to try to match against Rookie's Rise, and we know that that champion has effectively gone even against Zoe in the past, so it seems like Xiaohu, knowing that this could be a rough matchup for Zoe, and there are big apostrophes around that, air quotes, around bad matchup for Zoe, still seems to be confident in it.
It always depends on the RNG pool that Zoe gets for herself. Literally, you can either lose the lane because of the natural lane matchup, or you get a few, proto belts or redemptions.
Redemptions,
yeah, you win the lane. So it is always a toss of a dice roll, perhaps, to see who wins out that laning phase. But it should be Rise.
Seems to be appropriate that RNG, hoping for that RNG in the mid lane. As I did hear that laugh, Rusty, that chuckle, when you heard that just a moment ago. We do have the Rakan follow-up from JackeyLove and Baolan, one of the best Rakans in the LPL, as that is an excellent fan.
And a cosplay, I believe. Unless that green hair was natural, I'm not sure.
And one thing that I'm seeing from IG, from just their 3 picks alone, fight. There's a lot of pick potential. Yeah. The Varus, the Rakan, calling his jungler to come bottom lane. I don't care what you pick, bottom lane is the lane you go to, and the Rise as well. So I would say the Camille, even though it's banned, That's the style of champion you want out of Ning, so he can have the early pressure mid lane, bottom lane.
Because it's not just fighting, it's lane control. So Varus and Rakan should control that lane regardless of what Uzi picks. Now, if it's an Ashe, then maybe things become more equal. Varus and Ashe can match one another, but Rakan still has the engage, still has the forward opportunity. For Rookie in the mid lane on the rise, it's not an outright win in the 1v1, but your jungler, your 2v2 skirmishes are very dangerous depending on what you pick. I was actually going to say something like a Trundle into the Sejuani, but unfortunately they banned it, and the Camille is banned away. So I'm curious to see where he goes here with a lot of the junglers removed and 2 more banned by RNG.
Ning loves himself the Gragas. In fact, finds Gragas when it's out of meta. And it's not out of meta right now. He can go towards a Gragas or Rek'Sai. I would expect him to pick it now so he can actually get his top laner soon.
This would be pretty interesting. The Zac being hovered, of course, picking jungle now means that the Shy gets an opportunity to counter pick against Let Me, and knowing him to be a lane-focused top laner is a huge setup as the Zac is locked in. Great engage, great gank, great CC assist.
It's funny. It's like he's taking the page out of Karsa's champion pool. In fact, not even a Karsa pick away because Karsa's already got himself the Sejuani. Just saying that I've actually worked on it myself. So there's a lot of gank pressure, of course, that the Zac has for himself, and he can get through his own camps fairly easily, knowing that there's not an aggressive jungler he's facing down.
Yeah, has really good access into backlines as well, so whilst you may be able to save someone as the Tahm Kench, Ming in this case, you'll still knock the Tahm Kench up and bring him back to the team. So the 2-for-1 special may be available there, and it's good into Zoe. However, Sejuani is one of those picks that we used to see into Zac as the higher priority champion, because you can cancel his jump with the simple Q.
That headbutt able to knock Zac out of midair as Uzi, the king, picks up his newest signature champion on that Kai'Sa. On all of the art for the LPL this split, it's Uzi back-to-back with that Kai'Sa, of course taking the MSI win, so all teams should know and respect it. We do see Let Me on that Cho'Gath. Now we're looking for the Shy's counter.
And that's a gauntlet being dropped there. Throwing down the Cho'Gath is the defensive. It's basically the shield of the top lane. It's saying that you cannot dive me. You have to try and find something. I was thinking a Jace, but remember, Jason to Cho'Gath is you play aggressively, you send your jungler top lane. If it doesn't work, I am a massive tank that you cannot touch any longer. So bringing in the Gnar is a safe one. So I can go for split pushing fairly easily, but there's a team fighting access here too. So just picking up the Gnar is not the all-in. No chips being thrown in saying I'm going to go for a Jace pick, or the true top lane carry for the Shy. Knows that he has the option for team fights as well.
And it does add so much more to the team fighting that we already mentioned exists from Invictus Gaming with the first 3 picks. So when you round out that composition with a Zac and a Gnar, IG are well equipped to take those 5v5s. They are well equipped to control their laning phase in both top and bottom lane. The only place where things may shift is in the mid 2v2. So that's the big place that I'm going to be highlighting as we get onto the Rift in this first game here for RNG, as the potential place to exploit their opponents, because Xiaohu Unlocked is usually just RNG winning the game. That's how commanding he can be with a lead, alongside someone like Karsa.
Of course, his opponent is arguably the best mid laner in the LPL, if not one of the best mid laners in the world. Rookie has been taking names off of opponents since his introduction to the LPL in 2015. Now he's the veteran, the captain of this team, up against the king himself. Uzi looking across from him as JackeyLove tries to get comfy with his headset.
And we get to see this matchup this time. Remember that IG, last time they played against RNG, we were hyped as hell. We were like, man, JackeyLove's going against Uzi. Uzi locks in Vayne. This is the best day ever. And then he lane swapped. Yeah, and then we never saw the matchup. And then there's mages down there from then on. We don't see Uzi ever again in that bottom lane. So this is exciting for us because we get a conventional style meta. We do get JackeyLove against Uzi. And the reason this excites me is because JackeyLove gets to try and strut his stuff against the best. Now, can he keep up, or does the pressure continue to get to him in big moments?
And you know that he's been looking towards this matchup since the last time they faced in semifinals, just because he has to be eating at him. A lot of the times you're going up against each other, he wants to be able to lane versus him. He wants to be able to get in these team fights, because far too often you remember the moments in which you failed. So for JackeyLove to prove the people wrong that he is a top 380 carry in this split, this is your opportunity to make that case.
It's the chance for IG to look for another win over Royal Never Give Up and try to balance out the series, but that's it. We've loaded on to the Rift for Game 1 between Royal Never Give Up and Invictus Gaming.
Fun fact about the Beijing venue, I was there about 1 week ago. Now, it's packed. Now, you'd say RNG versus IG, of course it's packed, but even for RNG versus OMG, the games in which you would expect RNG to come out with 2 clean victories, they can sell out very quickly. So you know that the audience is there. They're powerful, passionate behind RNG.
Yeah, you can hear it.
Yeah, every time a kill comes across, any advantage that goes in RNG's favor, you will hear it. So IG definitely has a bit of a hill to cross.
No amount of noise cancellation headphones is going to stop a crowd of that size. And just like that, we've loaded onto the Rift. And
Even
that
home
fan
too?
vote is looking pretty stacked for Royal Never Give Up.
How was the fate even there? They lost. I mean, they didn't lose to Vici, but it felt like a loss. Come on.
It's the king. He brings in the names, he brings in the numbers.
Yeah, those some surprising numbers, but let's take stock of where the junglers have started this early into the piece here. Of course, opposite sides of the map, so we'll see if they go for invades or some vertical jungling from each respective jungler. Now, Sejuani's on the bottom side of the map for RNG, near Uzi's lane, as you would expect. But for the side of IG, it was Raptors into red start, full clear most likely from the Zac, so not going to be ganking until level 4.
Yeah, so he's just going to play it safely. We'll recognize that he will always be on the opposite side for Karsa, and he'll have the ability to farm out to level 4, level 6, doing really well for himself. And that his bottom lane can just start in the lane, and they wanted the lane priority to start. So you can see the benefits of IG just based off the level 1 alone.
Things are starting to pay off as JackeyLove pushing into the bottom lane. The Shy is actually absorbing some early push pressure from Let Me, while Xiaohu and Rookie duke it out in the mid lane. And keeping an eye on those junglers, we do have early Scuttle Crab control from Karsa on the bottom side. Surprise, surprise, got to keep the king safe. But that does mean that Ning is giving up Scuttle Crab control on the top half of the map. So Karsa will be getting a double Scuttle start.
It's a lot of extra money, not a significant experience advantage by any means, but extra money does add up. However, when you look at the Scuttle Crab, 70 gold's nice, but it's usually the third Scuttle Crab where the money amount starts to become insurmountable by any other jungle camp in the game. However, Rookie in the mid lane.
Xiaohu actually baits it forward. That's the redemption. One slow and the Sleepy Trouble Bubble. Rookie hits some big damage, as you said. Doesn't have to use the cleanse, though.
Having the cleanse to follow up for, of course, picking it up means that he gets a lot more control. Remember, it's an electrocute lane, so once it comes back into action, off of cooldown.
Oh yeah, Xiaohu has kill threat in about 30 seconds against
exactly. So at this point, Rookie is just going to be here for the wave, for the farm, but he needs some help.
And you can see some of the stats between these teams, and between those first turret percentage, it's first versus second, off by 1.8% between the two of them in their games. And then first versus second in towers at 20 minutes. Invictus Gaming, the Lane Kingdom team, on average, breaks down all 3 of their outer turrets by 20 minutes.
And this is one of those misleading stats because it's taking out the full summer statistics, and rather than the last 8 games that Uzi's played, which is drastically different. Remember, the bruiser compositions that RNG's been running means that they do run you down very quickly, and that's what the stats are really showcasing for RNG's side. So a massive change in styles means a change in expectations.
Now, you mentioned before, Dom, that it's still going to be lane-centric from IG. That's definitely true, but when you actually contrast that with the keystones of choice from RNG, as an example, in the top lane is going to be a Comet. So instead of going, say, Grasp of the Undying, stacking the health up against a Mega Knight, scaling into the game decently well, and having survivability, he's dealing damage. He's controlling lane better. He's going to harass you more often and get a better push-off against you, and suddenly the Shy not having the best time.
Ooh, that's the damage you were talking about from that comment. Immediately the Shy flashes away.
Any other top laner playing the Cho'Gath would flash for the auto attack because he had the E on top of it. The Shy had to play respectively and flash himself. So you can see, based off the point that Rusty's making, this is a really tough lane with the Comet in tow. Because not even just looking at his E or the Q damage that he could have dodged, just the outright silence that he has with W. The Comet that follows because he's in range of Gnar's auto attack.
And while Ning is trying to keep the Shy safe, that means Karsa gets a chance to step up onto Baolan, pushing him out of that river, keeping that bottom lane safe, and Let Me doesn't overextend into what is very clearly a bait attempt out of the Shy.
Yeah, but the Shy not recalling, whilst that may be a bait attempt, whether it is or not, Ning is also low health, so 2v2 is not conceivable, and it does mean that Let Me will get himself a significantly better recall. And the reason that the Shy is staying, I believe, was just to try and get that bit of extra gold, you know, ooze out the smallest amounts that he possibly can get for a more efficient recall. Now, credit to the Shy, he does. He gets a Kindle Gem and he gets a refillable potion. So knowing that he's going to continue to get harassed, I think that's super smart from the Shy.
Here you can see some of Ming's stats on the screen. The support to the best AD carry in the world. Second highest KDA at 5.0. But that kill and assist tapers off as the game goes on at about 15 minutes.
I'd say the most important one on that one is the wards per minute. First place, but a lot of that is based on the fact that, of course, when he has double bruiser compositions, he actually can roam a little bit more, set up plays in a Hylissang fashion. But in this case, staying by Uzi in laning phase for now for a very long time is the expectation. That stat will start to suffer.
Yeah, Ming becomes a helicopter parent when Uzi exists, that's for certain. Now, Ning on the bottom side will be spotted by a ward, so everything is just going to diffuse. We're still waiting.
He's in and he's out.
Yeah, he's very clearly aware something's going on. Now, of course, we are waiting for level 6, I think, above all else. For IG's team composition, once they tick to 6, Ning having extra, the Shy having extra, Mega 9, a Varus Rakan engaged duo being 6 is massive for the state of this game. So that's what I would look at here. Hit level 6, maybe get your first recalls off if you've got the money, and they very clearly do, farming very well, and then start to make plays.
And level 6 lines very up well with the fact that stopwatch is in Ning's core. So Ning wants to be able to get the engage across bottom side of the map. A dive is possible. Of course, he has Cell Division is passive. You can use your stopwatch as well, so he can be under that tower for a very long time. That's the threat that RNG faces in the bottom lane.
Can they survive that inevitable dive that will be coming as JackeyLove and Baolan approach level 6? Karsa, meanwhile, has raced towards his own level 6. The Shy still has no flash.
He just ticked a mini.
And that's Karsa showing himself. Let Me has got his own, lands the Feral Scream for a silence. Back against the wall. The Shy looks for the leap, but misses it. Karsa just walks it up.
Dead.
Not even going to use the ultimate, as Let Me gets the feast first blood.
Yeah, no need to use the ultimate. Well done from RNG. They just get so far behind the Shy that there's no way out for him. He doesn't have the flash. He is just destined to die. And that is something that happens from Let Me, quite simply starting the Comet, getting a flash forced out, and then a couple of minutes later they hit 6. Caster comes top. Super clean from RNG.
It was just an awkward moment for the Shy. Remember, he's pushing out. He knows Ning is behind him, but Ning is taking the slower clear, going towards Raptors, taking some time in that route. So he's like, okay, there's some time that I have here where this push actually is safe. But small window, Karsa found it and was able to get the gank across.
Crazy thing was that they even knew that Karsa was on that side of the map. There was a control ward that Karsa took the time to clear behind red buff. So looking towards the communication of IG to call that out for the Shy, or perhaps he was just desperate for CS because he's currently 20 minions down. That's 3 full waves.
There comes a point where you're playing League of Legends where you could zone yourself for 3 minutes, or you could take a gamble and step up to clear a wave. And eventually, if you're playing Nara and Choga, you're going to have to step up and clear a wave. But as bad as that feels, and that's usually the one time the jungler suddenly appears, is when you step up. That's kind of the choice that he had there, the Shy. He didn't have a jungler, he didn't have the vision, and all he saw was that Karsa cleared a ward, so he took the chance. Of course, it backfired.
Speaking towards Karsa's ability to find a way behind this, as now he's hovering around Xiaohu.
And this is the best that we've seen from Karsa in the past. Remember, the spring split is him mirroring his lanes so he can set up for a great dive for Uzi, or at least a play if possible. Right here, Karsa throughout this game so far. Of course, top lane was really the only carnivorous or just like the aggressive play he made, but for the most part, mirroring his lanes, doing a good job in that.
That's the slingshot. Ooh, and makes it away from the elastic punch of Ning. That does mean the Dragon will scare the rest of IG away as Baolan and JackeyLove collapse and just force Karsa back into his jungle.
IG was super aware that RNG were on that side of the map. You'll notice the way that Rookie walked towards his blue buff was incredibly safe, incredibly respectful, and avoiding vision because they were there. Yeah. So by the fact that he was playing that safe, IG clearly knew, and they get the push in bottom as you would expect from a Varus and a Rakan, and they immediately rotate up. Now, it wasn't in time to get a kill by any means, but it does keep the blue buff for Rookie, secure that for the tier stacker in the mid lane, and they're able to thwart the threats of any forward advances from RNG.
And the threat is there. Remember, while this is great control from Invictus Gaming, if they go for an outright brawl, you know, fleet footwork on the Sejuani with the passive that can stun you, the Kaisa there as well with the passive procs coming along. There's so much that really favors RNG in these skirmishes, and I didn't even talk about the Tom Kench, the fact that he can reset certain fights based off his W alone. So for RNG, they want the fights. They're hunting for it whenever possible. but Invictus Gaming just wants to keep the bubble alive for both mid and bottom lane.
Try to accelerate that CS advantage for JackeyLove, allow Rookie to start trying to open an advantage over Xiaohu, who is up in CS in that mid lane. You just saw the gold. It's just about even everywhere on the map except for the jungle and top lane. Letme's about 700 gold ahead, and Karsa's another 300 gold ahead of Ning, which equalizes it to the 1,000 lead we're seeing. Karsa, though, is playing the neutral objectives remarkably well. At 11 minutes, almost on the dot, he turns and takes the Rift Herald. Hear the golf claps from the crowd as he makes his way out of the pit like a bandit in the night.
Got a great read in the opponent, knew that he was bot side of the map. Of course, was able to get a good rush on towards Rift Herald. Remember, Sejuani is probably the best tank at being able to rush down those neutral objectives because you're a passive that just continuously procs. So it's a really fast take for Karsa.
There's redemption number 2 for Xiaohu that he's got, but
steps forward. Oh, and the punch once again misses. And like you said, there's the redemption just to escort Ning on the way out.
Of course, having the Spell Thieves does give you increased move speed when you activate it. So he was able to speed himself up and scurry away to safety there. Xiaohu, well done in that middle lane to avoid the gank. Now, I understand and respect the timing from IG. I thought that was correct from them. They just choose not to expend any summoner spells to force that one. It is super difficult as hang on bottom.
Ooh, Karsa's engaging onto Baolan. Ming trying to follow up with the Abyssal Voyage. Uzi's looking for damage. They've already got Baolan low, but they're able to leap away. That was JackeyLove flashing out of that narrow tri-pit.
But the one big takeaway is that Rakan is feeling that hurt. Doesn't have the mana as well. He wants to be able to base. See if there's a longer
Karsa
fight.
still walks it up. He actually hits the two of them together. Xiaohu forced to flash back with that Spell Thieves as Karsa goes low and dies to Rookie's machine gunning spells. Uzi can't go in.
It's just really good from the Rise. Being able to help out right from the mid lane, get the snare across, and it was an easy picking on towards Karsa that was hunting for a play.
That's the thing, they were fast on the counter gank the first time, they were still there the second time, and RNG the ones who overexert themselves to try and continue that play forwards, with Rookie just sitting around the corner. Ning very much had a lot of time to think through what the plan was going to be. They execute, they get a kill specifically onto Rookie as well. They make sure it goes to their big carry in that mid lane. Now that Rise, the CS deficit completely gone, and he finds himself in a very comfy position.
Look, and I understood the Bloodlust. I really liked it coming out of Karsa because he had that massive right-hand punch just from the Rift Herald. So knowing that he can stay here a little bit longer, maybe even hunt for a Rift Herald play, that was his intention. Unfortunate that there was just so much CC from the knock-up, the Q from Zac, followed up by the snare from Rise.
Now we do see the Rift Herald being spawned in the mid lane. Xiaohu cleanses away from Ning as Herald steps forward and the charge is activated. It's going to do a lot of damage, but not quite finish off the turret as they decide to finish off the minion wave and keep it standing. Uh-oh, JackeyLove, he's got no flash. Uzi, the king, he's looking to flex it. He finds it as Xiaohu. Kill secure.
What I was about to say the same damn thing. I don't understand it. I know he wants to be there faster so he can help out in the play, but the Rift Herald was already diffused. It was already pushed off.
It was not even faster. It was like 10 seconds late to the party. It
was like, I'm going to take the most direct path even though I'm not really needed here. So just an unfortunate play from JackeyLove.
Off the backup of that play, during the replay, it looks like the bottom tier 1 was taken by JackeyLove, and that should have been first brick to him coming from that bottom lane. But again, that means Xiaohu is getting absolutely camped by Ning. No summoner spells this time means no chance of escape.
Look, that's the risk. You know you're going up against Zac. It's fair play. There's no vision topside, so he just took advantage of the opportunity. He even brought Rakan along.
I will say, speaking towards that though, I think Xiaohu could have been a bit more respectful. With JackeyLove already dead, there's nowhere else for Baolan to be, and you've got a Zac gank in the mid lane repeatedly. So maybe a bit more respect in that lane, but I have a feeling he was one wave off his item and he chose to step up. Mid laners do that all the time, and guess what? He's got his items, so that's all that matters in the end.
Luden's Echo Sork boots. Karsa steps up onto JackeyLove once again, but Ming is there and will get that kill secure once again. So JackeyLove,
why not, you know? Yeah. Good things come in how many? Maybe it's 3s, we'll see for RNG. JackeyLove 0-2 now from a place where maybe, again, he shouldn't have been 0-1, but now he dies a second time. This time it was compliments of a Tahm Kench ultimate, so I will say that that mobility was very surprising. JackeyLove definitely did not see that one coming, but he was pushed without the rest of his team.
Yeah. And I'm expecting a scrappier game. If you look at just the compositions alone, the Rise ultimate, if they see an opening, same with the Zac E. So you just get to a point from IG's perspective, if they see a play, they're going to go for it. They've already have done so on top of Xiaohu. Might do it again if he keeps doing this nonsense. You see RNG, it's the same case that we've already seen based off the Tahm Kench ulti alone, so you're going to be seeing some clashing.
JackieLove, he's been criticized for his positioning in the past, and ooh, there it is. Uzi, about 30 feet back, drops on all fours, and sprints at JackieLove as Xiaohu with the big paddle star.
I just love
the
numerous angles we threw at it, because like we all knew it was going to happen at the end of the day. But we made it a little spicier for the people out there.
It's Michael Bay's new movie Power Rangers, I believe. Tragically for JackieLove, he is the star of that show. He didn't sign up for that one. Now IG, they still want to break this mid lane turret. They want to counteract what RNG were able to use the Herald for. And remember that Herald was a free objective. So RNG, they're unlocked to step up here if they would like. They're free to try and make the counter play. It's about who wants to pull the punch first. Because in my mind, if IG pull the punch, it needs to be an AoE engage tool. It can't just be a Varus ultimate.
Whoa!
And that hurt. So maybe that AoE engage tool is now gone.
There's the elastic slingshot. They're looking for Ming. He's got the flash, but Stretching Strikes pulls him back in. Gets pulled into the Let's Bounce and carried forward as the Glacial Storm will miss. Uzi teleporting in, but there's no turret for them to run to. Rookie flashing away as the Void Seeker will miss, and Xiaohu with a quick portal jump gets just a bit more damage as JackieLove walks it off.
They were so close to getting the kill on towards Ming, but here we go. I guess he's just doing it defensively to get the wave. But they were stacking it up on him. We're actually just one more ability to be able to get the kill because they were so close just based off the great health alone, but it didn't happen.
I feel like that could be super risky from RNG. You know, using that Time Kench ultimate to catch what is literally 2 range minions does open the floor in mid lane if IG wanted to make the play, and that's one of the things that Zac can do. Maybe he doesn't have the ultimate, but he has a passive. He has the ability to dive still if the rest of RNG were recalling, and they definitely were. The smartest member here is Karsa. He's hovering, he's trying to protect his mid laner.
And that's the risk for the next 5 minutes at this point, because the wave clear just isn't there for RNG. Zoe and Kaisa are there for the skirmishes and pick potential. They think they got one on the Shy.
The wave clear might not be here, but they're looking for the kills as the Shy is about to get flashed upon, stunned under the turret. Uzi dives in. He's only got the Gwynsu, so relying on that plasma and runs it down. Does he have enough? He does. Uzi finds himself another kill as RNG dives.
And just great tower aggro from Ming, but that's what you're seeing from RNG. Pick members across the map. IG are trying to use their wave clear and priority in matchups, the range that they have, to go for mid lane turret, bottom lane turret. They already got that first one. And it's taking a hell of a long time to get that mid lane turret. And if plays like these from RNG keep happening, picking off the Shy, it's going to extend it long enough to the composition for RNG to really take off.
Yeah, they're splitting the map, IG, but they're getting caught in places where they should be stronger than not. So they had Rookie on the bottom side with no turret there. That should be the weak point in the map, but IG die on the top side. Now mid lane is very low. Ning is threatening.
Thinking about going for Xiaohu, but the Sleepy Trouble Bubble finds it. Xiaohu with the paddle star at maximum range.
Wake up.
Says, don't you dive me. IG still pushing onto the turret. Eyes on the prize. Karsa steps up with the Glacial Storm. Rookie, he's got no flash this time. He's getting shredded by JackieLove, Blade of the Ruined King. Uzi back into the fight, but does he have enough damage with that tank dead? Flashing away from Ning. Stretching Strikes, pulls him back in. Let's Bounce only brings back the Kench. Realm Warp as they look to dive at Uzi in between IG as they are chasing these kills down. Does he have enough to outplay this? Gets one, pops the passive, but dies to the Shy as Rookie scares Karsa away.
And that's how volatile these team fights are. There are no survivors.
Whoa, Xiaohu!
Oh no.
Gets a double, flashes, but Rookie just with the spell flux walks it down.
And why would you walk back through the trouble bubble? Go straight back through that middle lane. IG, they continue the fight, and through the continuation of that fight, they get themselves the turret, they get themselves extra kills, and they truly set themselves up to succeed. Now, getting a gold advantage, what feels like the first time in this game, and a 3-0-3 mid laner to boot.
Yeah, and the MVP on that one was the Rise ultimate, because it seemed like they were cleaning up the fight, couldn't reach the next, send out the Rise ultimate, and then you have to round them all up. So easy mid lane tower after the fight was all said and done. And now IG are finally able to get the rest of these towers down.
And that's the stat that we just saw at 20 minutes. IG have an average of 3.11 turrets. Well, right on the clock. 19 minutes and 50 seconds. They break the outer, but here's that fight again.
Yeah, now through this fight, Let Me Die is incredibly fast to both JackieLove and Rookie's burst, and that's a big part of their damage completely removed. RNG, they're just trying to disengage, but really they can't because Ning has just got the furthest reach in the east, and he's able to keep him locked.
Oh, missing the paddle star into JackieLove. Does hit the Sleepy Trouble Bubble and chases it down. We already saw the fight from Uzi's perspective, but that's how Xiaohu was able to reset it. Looks like Karsa has been tagged by the Stretching Strikes on that bottom left.
That's not his side of the map though, Dom.
And yeah, making a run for it. Will be chased down by the Rune Prison. Rookie activates the overcharge, and they're continuing to run him down. Are RNG able to make anything off of this? Uzi is on the opposite side of the map, trying to make something happen. And you can see the damage distribution a lot more even for IG.
And in that fight alone, something to make note of is, of course, Let Me realizing how it feels to play Olaf. If you use your Righteous Glory to get that far ahead, you don't have the necessary tank statistics for your team to just follow up that long and think you won't just get bursted like that. So while Let Me had a great idea catching up to get the Q across, the turnaround is incredibly powerful from the Varus.
Yeah, he's not that tanky yet. You know, that single item that he's got's not going to do a crazy amount against what is a, you know, mixed damage Varus and a magic damage dealing Ryze that is standing up next to him as well. So burst out super quickly. The saving grace of RNG is of course going to be in that mid lane. You're looking at Xiaohu on the Zoe with 4 kills. He is going to be the beacon of hope. And what I mean by that is he is the mid-game bridge with which RNG should get themselves to the Uzi stage of the game. That's what they're looking at. But that's also where IG are uniquely equipped to kill. If you go near that mid lane, there is so many access points for a Zac to get flanks off. There are so many places for a Rakan to get flanks off as well. There's so many opportunities for IG to make plays.
I'm just a little worried here because remember, looking at this is not only is Xiaohu doing incredibly well, but he actually can get countered out by the enemy itemizing points because I would say Uzi, I would much rather see him go towards an AD portion of it, maybe a little bit on hit, but at the moment he's going straight towards the AP route. If he goes Nashor's Tooth into AP, then you just look at the composition that they have, and that's AP across the board. And if you're looking towards what Xiaohu wants to do and just burst damage, impossible if you're going up against Ning, who's likely going to be building straight magic resistant to Warmogs.
Yeah, even the mid lane build from rookies and magic resistance. The Shy has gone towards the Wits End build as well at that, so they're fully aware of where the current damage sources will be. And I think that Wits End build is a very strong choice. I'm curious to see where he goes third. I know a lot of different builds have been seen on Nars, but he's good into the Cho'Gath, he's good into the Zoe, and that means that Gnar, whilst it's a squishy build, is actually fairly teamfight ready.
This will be the one that shows how the Shy wants to play it. That's the Abyssal Voyage. Again, they're just chasing down these kills, and it's Uzi over the wall. He's got Killer Instinct, but decides not to dive a range heavy, and whoa! IG looking for the Baron. Ning is going to start it off with Rookie as Baolan and Jackie Love are racing to the pit.
22 minutes into this room, and remember, they can just rush it, but if there's one member that comes through, they have enough engaged to turn.
Oh, it's risky from IG.
Yeah, Xiaohu steps up. Banshee soaks the initial hit. Karsa over the wall. That's the Glacial Storm. He steals it. Karsa keeps RNG in the game. That's the Sleepy Trouble Bubble. Ming will walk forward as Karsa dies, but a worthy sacrifice.
That was so smart from Karsa, sending the ultimate out towards Rakan. He knew that Rakan was aiming for him. Used his ultimate preemptively because he was like, all right, I know what I need to do. Find the jungler, charm him when the smite comes down. It didn't happen because he was locked down by the ultimate.
It's smart plays from IG, just counteracted by a single Royal Never Give Up member. That's just as simple as it gets for RNG. They're the ones who put a Tahm Kench ultimate and bunches of resources towards bottom lane just to find a flash from the Gnar. That's a big risk, but suddenly he gets into the pit, he is locked down, and whilst he's locked down, he's still inside the pit, so it doesn't matter, he's got that smite.
Yeah, and Dan, I'm sad that we got into it that late, and I know it's just because Karsa, congratulations, you got the smite, but he threw the ultimate. I think it was blind too. I'm just going to give it to him. On towards Rakan. That was so smart because he just knew that he needed to get in the pit in one safe space, and he did so.
Suddenly, Invictus Gaming, despite taking all 3 outers and priming themselves to start looking at some tier 2s, those inner turrets, get that strategy denied to them and stall this game out just off of Karsa, finding that steal for the next 2 minutes.
Stop it, Valor.
RNG will have lane control. It's Xiaohu.
There's just 4 people looking at a Rakan. He dashed away, and he's like, you know what? I got another second on this sweep. I can take that ward down.
He can do what he wants.
He can't do a single thing. The ward's still standing. Thankfully, Balan backs away. There are supports that would go for that now, League. So that's why I was a little bit concerned.
Lancy.
Just saying, he's a contemporary dancer. He can do what he wants. He knows that the threat of someone being there will whisk him away.
I feel like if...
To a gray screen.
Yeah, Rakan is the embodiment of he can dance if he wants to. He can leave his friends behind. Because it's the safety dance for IG right now as they're trying to defend their own half of the map because RNG with that
ward, if this is where they choose to get caught, I'd be so miffed.
They're starting to control these lanes and open things up at the 25-minute mark. And we talked about the AP scaling for RNG. It is slowed down just a little bit for Uzi.
But we do have item spikes for him. So that's the thing. And I would constitute Quicksilver Sash as an item spike for him when you look at the opponents that he's looking at. So now Varus can't engage onto Uzi. And suddenly, Ning, whilst he can hit the knockups, Rakan can hit the knockups. If he has Flash, Uzi can QSS Flash or QSS Ult as required. So that's what you're looking at.
And that's the most realistic one that you're looking to and saying that actually Ning's job is so much harder now. Because moving on towards Xiaohu, difficult. The cleanse is there on Splash. Easy option there. But if he looks towards Uzi now, what can he do? I think at this point in time, Ning's options, his windows are really closing out.
Now this is a push to the tier 2. Letme has brought up a big wave. Rookie sidesteps the Rupture and the Feral Scream to get a huge flux onto the wave and clears out a majority of it. Sleepy Trouble in the back prevents Ning from going in, but Xiaohu's still peppering hits.
Man, they're not going to get this. I don't think there's 30 seconds left. They've got one more minion wave to push with just to get the inner turret here. But Rookie is stepping up like he doesn't have a care in the world, and that's because no one can stop him. He is so tanky and is dealing a solid amount of damage even to Baron minions.
Look, all they need is one Sleepy Trouble bubble as a trap and a Cho'Gath to walk up. It's enough space. It's unfortunate that Lecky used his Q that early on.
Oh, there you go.
And it hits Baolan as well. Lollipopping at the end for the extra AoE, but that's the tier 2 finally being broken, and now Royal Never Give Up are the ones who are taking control of this mid game.
Yeah, but one thing to remember is that while Ning took that damage, it's important because they only needed it for that one wave. But now that, let's say, next Baron comes up, or maybe they decide to fight for this next Earth Dragon because that turns into a second one for both teams, that it's a longer setting. The Warmux is going to be doing a lot of worth in terms of Ning. If he gets hit by Xiaohu, he can keep staying on the map for a lot longer. The Shy sees something.
I think IG are ready to fight right now. They've got better item spikes than their respective opponents. RNG, I think, need to recall, namely the mid laner of Xiaohu. Rookie, he's looking.
That's the Realm Warp, but they're over the walls. Elastic Slingshot as Ning chases forward, and IG just trying to force control over the pit. The Rupture catches two. JackeyLove's already working onto the Dragon with the Shy. Ming in the front. Uzi's looking for a flank from the far side. The Sleepy Trouble bubble hits Baolan. That's the engage disabled, and the huge Battle Star as Rookie eats himself that Glacial Storm, but a quick cleanse as the Dragon is picked up by Ning. RNG. They still want this. Ning goes into the back. He's found Ming and Karsa the flash in. He's looking for Uzi, but he kites it back out. Brings two onto JackeyLove, who's firing across, but can't find any kills. The Shy on the side finally gets Mega, forces Uzi back out, but Uzi's kiting it expertly. Flashes in as he finds the Shy. Ning has got no one to back him up. They've managed to get some kills on the far side, getting rid of the front line. But now Uzi's on his own. He's looking for the outplay. Still gets pulled onto the ward and will die as a result of it.
For as well as Uzi played that one, it was just very apparent that IG had that fight cleaned out. The fact that Ning got a double ultimate, even pulling the Sejuani over the terrain to bring him into his team, it was just so good of a setup from Invictus Gaming. Didn't matter how well Uzi played that.
And the precursors to the fight are the biggest deal here. Sejuani choosing to throw the ultimate onto Rookie. It forces the cleanse, but because they get distance, because Cho'Gath knockups aren't followed with damage, and all of the crowd control of RNG whilst it is hitting is not being followed up upon, you'll see here IG, their carries, they are completely able to just dish out free damage the entire time. And that's a Varus and a Ryze who have got big item spikes, machine gunning down their opponents.
And look at this, because this is important. They're burning down the Dragon, and Karsa being across the wall at Krugs means that it's such a long path for him to even come in to contest this. So it was valuable to get the Recon damage, but even just based off that alone, Recon is not necessary to the victory of Invictus Gaming. It's this boy right here, Ning.
Ning
getting
intercepted Xiaohu's Zoe paddle star while jumping towards the tanks. Things could not have gone better for Invictus Gaming, even in the regards of luck. That's insane.
And of course, Uzi doing his best while the rest of his team is falling. Ning hits the stretching strikes.
He still got the strike.
Attacks the ward to pull Uzi back in as he goes down into the Cell Division. And you can see the damage distribution. It's close to even, but slightly in favor of JackeyLove and Rookie as they're able to close things out. Whereas Karsa and Letme just forced to turn and run as they had taken so much initial damage from that Ryze and Varus. Ooh, boy.
Yeah, I was clenching for that one as well, but not as much damage as I was expecting.
He did have the Guardian, which it went completely through the Guardian shield.
Yes, and the Rakan shield above that. So that is avoid stuff done for Xiaohu. In the last fight, it was 2 items. In this one, it will be 3.
Oh, and the Glacial Storm. There's no Cell Division. Ning uses his early stopwatch. Flash to get away from the Chains of Corruption.
But see, him getting out of this means that...
Uzi's thinking about it. Walks forward as Letme's there. The Rupture onto Baolan. They find themselves the kill. Now Letme's forced to walk away. Ming will pick him up from Rookie's snare, but Rookie is just a tight.
That was so crucial to be able to get the Q up by Letme, because ultimately, Ning being able to back up on out of that, not getting bursted down. Remember, no Cell Division, so that could have been a death. Didn't happen, though. Ning getting back to 100% HP. If IG had played that one out slower, they would have came out for the better.
It's very clear what the recipe is here, though, for Royal Never Give Up. It is that Zoe needs to hit a bubble. And with Zoe hitting a bubble, the entire composition is enabled. They're not throwing out the Sejuani ultimate. They're not throwing out the Cho'Gath Ruptures unless that bubble hits, because that is when kill threat is available for them. So that's what you're expecting. And once again, they are hunting.
Yeah, Ning looking at the Baron. There's no vision from IG. They don't have any wards into the pit, so that was the Realm Warp to scout it out. Now Balan is back alive, and he's racing back over towards this side of the map.
And this game just got a lot more linear at this point. Baron is on everyone's mind. You know that IFG just wants to be able to defend it. So for them, their goal is get some sneaky wards across, because you know RNG is going to be in position, and start having JackeyLove continuously push mid, maybe protect him because Zoe might be able to aim for him. But at that point, it's mid lane priority versus RNG that's going to be baiting for this. So this is what you're going to be seeing for the next 5 minutes.
You know, when you speak towards the Zoe's strengths, you have to remember what her weaknesses are. She's very good at kiting forwards, but she's not good at kiting backwards. That ultimate does the opposite of help you. It hinders you in its entirety. So you have to be very careful with your use of that. When you look at IG's composition, they're pretty big fans of that forward momentum. So in a game that could come down to a pick, it will usually result in an entire team fight. Xiaohu is a prime target there.
Ooh. And there's so much individual freedom here from all the boys at Invictus Gaming. If they see Xiaohu doing that, sure, he has the Banshee's Veil, but you look towards the Rise, Rune Prison, JackeyLove's ultimate, all of them can really just press the go button and try and assassinate Xiaohu. So he has to keep the Banshee's Veils up, and he has to be respectful to the enemy team.
We see tons of cleanses from RNG to deal with that. Xiaohu with the cleanse, Uzi with the Mercurial Scimitar to match JackeyLove's on the opposite side. It should be noted, JackeyLove has largely cleaned up his positioning from that early game and seems to be trying to step up against the King, against Uzi. He remembers what happened last time they faced. He remembers how his matchup went against iBoy.
I mean, he had a CS lead during the laning phase. The problems that he's had, the mistakes that he's made aren't necessarily through his individual performance. It's the decision-making, the positioning. It has been shored up, as you mentioned. So coming into these team fights, Jackie, big threat. And he's a man that we're going to have to highlight because he's got a consistent DPS build. The other person that's now taking a lot of damage is the Shy. He's got a split pushing build. But he is consistently grouping up with a team, almost like he feels the need.
Oh, that's the Rupture. Balan in the front. We talked about his positioning as well, but he's the one who gets caught on the engage. Uzi uses the cleanse, gets picked up by Ming, but still inside of the Chains of Corruption takes some damage.
Reservations from IG. They choose not to take that. There was an opportunity there to actually go on Uzi. They choose to back away, use the Warmogs, fight another day.
Yeah, because I think they were in such a good position now. They're going for this.
Yeah, they found Ming. Both of the supports step up, and both of the supports die and get punished. The Realm Warp. Here's the chase. King is found on the other side. Karsa gets carried away. That's the Sleepy Trouble Bubble finding JackeyLove. He gets a late cleanse as Rookie takes the hit. Uzi's looking to come in from behind, but that is not a corridor he wants to walk down as Karsa finally dies.
Right near Baron, too, and that is a pretty hefty...
Look at Xiaohu.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, they're gonna have to kill him.
Oh, he steps forward. Let me is there. That's the Rune Prison, and he goes down. Uzi gets caught by Ning as 1 by 1. RNG walk into the meat grinder, and 1 by 1 they get ground up. JackeyLove with the double as IG ace RNG.
And it's so smart strategically from Invictus Gaming. They're not taking the 5v5s. They are focusing on getting those picks. And you better believe that the second they do, they're gonna look for another one. RNG have no choice but to face check that bush. And every time they step up to do it, IG, they are waiting for you because they have the vision control, they have the setup, and they know your composition's not very good at checking those areas. Invictus Gaming, comprehensive win.
I was just surprised at how quick they acted there, because if you're Invictus Gaming in that situation, you move straight towards Baron and you start chipping it down. RNG were so confident about that, all members moved up and knew that they had to be in position to challenge. But then, of course, the long range of Zach going to be able to grab you up.
Just gobbling Karsa up and carrying him away, saying, let's bounce, and carries Karsa away from his team. Rookie off the back of that play, able to take 2 turrets, but here we get to see it again.
This is just
Uzi
really
can't
good.
follow, man.
Yeah.
And then Xiaohu, if you go to Baron right now, Xiaohu could probably kill one of you, and it wouldn't be ideal. You run the risk of a lot of things happening with 3 of them alive. So they choose to instead utilize the Zac, utilize the Rise capabilities of catching someone as well, and just sprint at their opponents, lock them down.
That's just the risk, of course. We talked about the point with Xiaohu in this composition. If he ever finds himself reaching too far out without Banshee's Veil, even with Banshee's Veil, with the spell sling of Rise, it gets popped really quickly, and you're going to get locked down. So this is the risk that he's running in, and now he's back against the corner.
And just to follow up on that, I think that elastic slingshot from Ning was blind, as I didn't quite see a ward there, but now this is IG utilizing that Baron to look for the the inhibitor turret siege. Ning starts charging up as rookie. He's bringing another minion wave mid. Uzi went top to stack the wave away from RNG, so it's just the 2 lanes that IG have to worry about for the time being.
The siege will continue now. They're not going to 1-3-1 just yet. The minions aren't even controlled in the top lane. They are 5v5.
There they go. That's Balan using the ultimate, gets the knock-up. Karsa in the front, flashes away. Chains of Corruption is not enough to lock him down, but the turret falls. Ning chases on to Let Me. He flashes. Elastic slingshot, the flash to bring the 2 back in. Ming with the late cleansing gets carried right away by Ning. Out of the fight. Uzi still looking for damage onto Rookie, but barely taps him.
Just the edge of the
Void Seeker. Now JackeyLove is walking up to the turret. He knows he's got one job as IG. They're looking to end this right here, right now. Looking for the second Nexus turret. Let Me walks up, but there's nothing that he can do. JackeyLove continues to turn onto the turret as Uzi just doesn't have enough damage. He has died. And IG, they walk onto the Nexus. As you said, Rusty, this is game 1 going to Invictus Gaming.
Happens all too quickly, Rusty. Happens way too quickly, and it was just the edge of the ultimate hitbox every time for Ning. Always finding that extra member that he can throw into his own team. So really well done from Ning, game 1.
Yeah, super clean. Proving himself again as a very good Zac player. Ning has played it in the past, but Karsa was the one who brought it out in the summer split. And against Karsa, he's able to find success on the pick. That long-range enabling tools, but the conscious effort from Invictus Gaming to be grouping us 5 for it to connect. Protecting JackeyLove, protecting Rookie, as they're able to dish out the damage from close range.
I think the confidence, remember the pick that came across in the mid lane, for Invictus Gaming to double down and get control around Baron when they've lost a member, shows that, I'd say once again, the confidence that they had near the end of the game, because they were setting up really well for it. It was unfortunate that Balan ended up losing his life really down to the wire, but it was RNG trying to figure out how to get control of Baron once again.
You have to remember that RNG had a Baron in this game. They had a lead in this game, and they were controlling it. And whilst the lead was not significant, you can see the goal differences there. It was a 4-kill Zoe. You know, they had a Baron with a 4-kill Zoe. They were sieging turrets, and you thought maybe, maybe this is exactly what RNG need to win this game. Their composition was good at that. But IG, the confidence you mentioned, Raz, definitely the case here. They know full well the limits of the champions that they are playing, and that's the big thing here. When you look at their champions, they know those champions. They play a lot of those champions, and Rookie on Rise knows exactly what he's able to do.
I think the one thing you take away from this, Let Me probably feeling pretty frustrated, because while he made some great plays top lane, getting good control in the lane, and then later on in the game getting some clutch Qs, problem was that enabling some engages didn't come through. The Sejuani ulti came in, what are you going to follow up with? The answer wasn't very clear, because you knew that Zac was going to be channeling his E. And so the threat of Zac was way more powerful than the actual engage that Sejuani provided. And so it just came down to the fact that RNG was like, how do we fight if we cannot deal with the Zac dealing coming at us?
Even more so than just the threat of the Zac, the actual Zac itself, picking up Karsa so many times when he didn't have the Glacial Storm and carrying him into the back line. Ning had Karsa's number in those late game team fights, but I think the thing that enabled, not to mention the Rookie popping off and doing massive damage, was JackeyLove. He absolutely stepped up. Despite those initial mistakes in the mid lane, he does so much damage.
Check out this slingshot, because I reckon, like, JackeyLove gets put to sleep here by Xiaohu.
Yep.
I reckon Ning just accidentally steps in front of this here. Yeah. How bad do you have to feel if you're Xiaohu, you've got JackeyLove lined up, and then the damage that he dishes out to carry the rest of this team fight. Just free hit on him, God.
Yep, flashes forward, gets the 3 kills, it was all because of a flying green man.
It's so upsetting, and the other person that would have tanked it would have been Rookie. So again, that's a good target. You take that as a secondary option, because that's a great person to hit in Invictus Gaming. I mean, they do get the team fights, they've got the confidence play, and luck or not, they're able to protect their carries, whilst their carries are playing forwards and playing aggressively.
So, discounting luck from the situation, I think we should be clear on how Invictus Gaming were able to take this victory, because yes, there were many small moments in which they pulled Uzi back into the fight after he had gotten the cell division and then got pulled back in. There were moments where he was separated by Ning, getting the blind elastic slingshot onto 2 members. Who is playing better in this game 1? Because RNG were keeping IG on their toes and were matching that lane kingdom strategy after 20 minutes.
So one thing you're highlighting is how they end up playing the fight. There are some fights that IG actually mechanically, let's say, played poorly, or at least like related to how well Uzi played off in one fight. But it was the control that IG had from beginning to end that really set it up. And that replay, really what defined it was they pushed them so far down the red side jungle that Jackie Love just said, hey, you know what, I'm going to start dragging. You're going to have to try and follow up. It didn't happen. You know, honestly, at that point, that was a free dragon for Invictus Gaming because they put in the legwork. And then also, even if, let's say, the Q came across and actually landed on its target, how Ning played that out was very well done. And so it was just Invictus Gaming, from start to finish, the control was there, and they were really confident about that control. Sometimes they would lose a pick, but they would always come back onto the map, getting the pressure out there and getting the turrets out.
Yeah, knowing what the next steps are, being very cerebral and thoughtful in how they're executing on the map. And that's the thing for me, right? Like, I would not say that this game was decided on mechanical execution by any means. I think it was decision-making, and I think it was setup. Because for Invictus Gaming, I'm going to have to watch the VODs back to see it, but every time they tried to make a play, they had the vision control. You know, they had everything going in their way, and they're able to utilize that vision. This is a very good example of that, to make those plays happen. This is the follow-up of a fight where IG choose to take it, getting access into the backlines, knowing that RNG was split because they have the vision to do so.
And just at the very beginning of that, they didn't have Rakan. He was dead because of the positive play RNG made, but it was Invictus Gaming that stood their ground around Baron side with control wards that they had, took the pick on towards Ming, and of that one, this was the game-winning moment. This was Invictus Gaming doubling down and getting so many picks because they could do that with their composition, and it was just that one right play that they had on Ming that really opened the doors.
Yeah. So just watching Ning's perspective from that fight one final time, he saw the Cho'Gath, and then he saw the Void Seeker on the other side of the wall hit Rookie, and was able to deduce through some Pythagorean
theorem. I think he was just aiming for the Cho'Gath, and he was going to like auto the Kaiser to knock them together, but he got the 2-for-1 special accidentally.
And then was able to stack up on the back of it. And Rookie will take our MVP for the massive damage that he was able to do during that game. That Realm Warp was what separated RNG and won them that final team fight 6-0-13. We didn't really talk about him too much over the game, but what a performance.
We did, in the sense that, I mean, the 90% kill participation isn't surprising. When he went down bottom lane, when, of course, Rift Arrow was taken, he stopped all that nonsense, getting the kill on towards the Sejuani. There were so many opportunities that RNG had, and RNG stopped because it was Rookie coming in, roaming in early on, and putting a halt to all of it.
And do note that whether we said it or not in game, we said it in draft. Rookie and Xiaohu are two of the best risers that we have in this league, and what separates them from the rest of the herd is their use of the ultimate. And that is one thing that Rookie definitely displayed his mastery of in this game, with how quickly and confidently he uses the ultimate and the places that he puts it to enable his team to win team fights.
So then we have to get back to the discussion that we had at the beginning of this series, the Duke versus the Shy discussion, and how that changes Invictus Gaming styles. Well, suddenly we did all this preparation about, oh, they've been playing well with Duke, they've been playing strong strategic plays, they seem to be a little bit better in team fights, whereas the Shy seems to be more lane focused. Well, we've just seen tape against one of the best teams in the world showing that the Shy can do the same thing.
Well, they need more tape on that one because the early lane phase was definitely in Latmi's favor. So going into game 2, see how you can run him once again into that, maybe the same matchup. Nara's also always a fantastic pick. I want to see what happens in that one.
Yeah, we'll get a chance to take a look. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break while we get that game 2 ready for you. Don't go anywhere. Our match of the week is going to be right back.
这个夏天 ，IG 有太多东西需要证明，请大家拭目以待。